Welcome to Two Therapists Walk Into A, where we take a real life situation, a cultural moment, or a total ordinary mess, and we run through it with a therapist's lens. Not to
Total
diag-
ordinary mess, by the way. I love
Total
that.
ordinary. That is sounds like parenting.
our intent is not to diagnose it, but to name some of the dynamics, to translate what's actually happening under the surface, and hopefully, reflect on common scenarios that people could react to. So, anyway, are you up for that?
Of
No,
course.
I'm out. Oh,
No,
sorry.
no.
All right, so this one I'm going to call Two Therapists Walk Into a Family Group Text.
Ooh.
It's where
Ooh.
there's passive
Wait,
aggression
how many
thriving.
family members?
Well, don't give it away. Just launch, man.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Um, so, what's the healthiest way to disengage from a toxic group text without blowing up the family system? That's the question. If you want more
Okay.
context or wind up, I can give you
Yeah,
I
that. But
think we will need more context.
I think we need more wind up. Absolutely.
well, I'm just thinking about those scenarios where you have it's not a regular family group text, but it's one where, a couple times a year, for some reason, you're thrust into a group of 8 to 10 family members where you're trying to coordinate something or somebody is sharing information for whatever reason.
Oh, we have
And
one of those right now. We got one just last night. A member of the family, who I will refer to with a pseudonym of my wife Michelle, um, sent a message out to like family, hey, we're gonna try to get together this week. Who's available? And I think there were about, I have to check, but there probably were 7 people on it.
That tracks.
Is that
Well, here,
is that what we're talking about, Michael?
I mean,
But we
yes,
have a
but
bigger
but
he's not the
there,
scenario
I
one
than
with the
guess,
that.
political or
But
like edgy bend where someone says or does
yeah, yeah.
something that's maybe a little
I'm
fringe.
waiting on that. I'm
well,
waiting on that.
what I was
I just want to
thinking.
say that like I have this experience. I mean, we all have the
Yeah,
experience, but I've
and
got one. I've got a live one right now.
I want a little bit more clarification
Yes.
in your brain, Michael. Is this involving sort of immediate family members, or are we talking about immediate family members plus their respective partners? So now we have sort of the in-law kind of situation,
I'm picturing that,
All
the
right.
and
So
Dan,
messier
your
version.
example where you're trying to coordinate something is perfect. So it
Yeah.
great.
is on the
What's the scenario?
surface. Yeah, on the surface, it's innocuous, right? It is a big group text where you have included a bunch of people that you don't always get in the same virtual space, but here they are. And you're
Okay.
trying to have this one conversation, but it then also is an opportunity for those other people to act in passive aggressive manners,
But
maybe dodge the question that's being asked if it's about arranging a scenario. And then also, it then is a platform like, oh, here are all these people. Every once in a while you get somebody who's just like, I'm going to share this random link with you now. And you're like, why is this in here? This isn't what the topic is
So
about.
this is a chat that's gone off the rails.
That's what
okay.
I'm
So we're
thinking.
not
Yes.
we're not talking a specific scenario. We're
No,
talking
I
about
just mean these
oh
group chats in general
oh.
that, and that dynamic. And then how do you like navigate or kind of extract yourself from one that has gone awry?
I recently heard someone say, and I'm really curious about this, and maybe our listeners can chime in, that every group text like that exists has a subgroup text where the people in the group text have like want to talk without 1 or 2 people. And if you're not in that subgroup text, like if you don't know
You're that
about a
guy.
subgroup text, you're the one who's been
You're the
excluded. Now,
guy.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's accurate or not, but it has me suddenly a little paranoid.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think the bigger the group and the
Mm-hmm.
more diffuse the relationships, I
Mm-hmm.
suspect that you're right, Dan, that there's a subgroup of people within the group that are closer, that are having a side conversation. I mean, this strikes me as not terribly just like the, annual family reunion gathering at some, random park and everyone, sits down at tables with people that they don't necessarily see more than once a year. And
Mm-hmm.
Uncle so and so starts saying something and everyone's like, what? And and how do you disengage? I don't know that disengagement via text looks all that different than disengagement IRL, as the kids like to used to say.
Right,
I think
right,
it's a really
right.
dated term. But in real life, how do you shut down either an inappropriate conversation or disengage from that? I think in text
Hmm.
there's a version of what you would do in person.
Right,
And then typically we have a sub chat, right? You go off and you
right.
find the preferred family member and you chat with them and you think, oh, save me from XYZ.
Hmm.
So, I think it depends on the context and how active. I know I've been a part of group chats and I'm working and I cannot have my phone
Hmm.
blowing up every 30 seconds to, a minute and a half. And it's just too much. And
I
I've seen families say, pardon me, I'm at work. I need to be deleted from this group. And that has felt, appropriate. I can't keep doing that. I
I
think you can silence your own notifications as well and just, subtly remove yourself.
I see nothing wrong with, and I do this sometimes, these groups, especially during my work day. I don't want my phone like blowing up. Sometimes just mute it. Like this is,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't mean to overly simplify this, but I'm going to overly simplify it. There is nothing about that little like 7 or 23 that sits next to the app that says you have to freaking do anything about it. Like just
Right.
mute it, ignore it if it's gone off the rails. If someone specifically has a question, like yeah, at the end of the day, scroll through it. Oh, there's Dan. Someone's asked someone is like at Dan, like they have a
Mhm.
question. Fine. I don't think anyone in these group threads is going to get annoyed or frustrated because one person or two people has chosen to fall silent for a little while. And I have no issue with that sort of thing and do it sometimes in chats that I'm like, I don't really care about this. Like,
Yeah. But let's
so
say you're trying to arrange a big family dinner and you want this extended family to come
mhm,
together for a purpose, somebody's birthday, and it's a milestone birthday, and you're going to make a dinner reservation and you want to
mhm,
know if XYZ date will work for everyone. And you've got to get the reservation in. And then you've got all of these other side conversations and it's going off the rails, but the purpose is this, let's say, birthday gathering, something that's not
right.
terribly
I,
um, controversial.
hopefully you have the family culture that lets you say, dudes, like, can we figure out what restaurant we're going to? Like, do what I just did. I interrupted
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
to say that. And there's nothing wrong, I think, in a group text of saying that if the family is in a situation where they can be honest and direct with one another. And not necessarily like dickish, but just saying like, hey, like, thank you for the cat meme. It's great. But like, can we figure out whether we're doing pizza or Thai and for dinner and like it, then we can get back to the cat stuff. I
Yeah.
I I don't see
But what
anything
if you
wrong
don't
with
want to be
just
a
being
part of the
direct about
cat
it.
stuff? Like
Hmm?
let's say you don't want to be a part of the cat stuff, right? So we get dinner settled, and now this thread is just lit up
I don't.
because people
I
don't
just
interact very often, and now they're really getting a dopamine hit from interacting and sending these cat memes or the equivalent of the
what?
1990s version of forwarding, that funny email or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, do you say like now take me off this thread because I
No,
don't, or do you just mute the thread?
no. Just
What do you
just
do?
don't piss on anyone's cornflakes. Like they're having a good time. Let them have their good time. I can mute a thread and then come back to it later, and it takes me like I don't know, 5 seconds to click the little button that takes you to the bottom of the thread that marks everything as red, and then you're done. Why would I want to rain on their parade? I see no, I there are all sorts of threads that I don't necessarily attend to, and I scroll to the bottom and done with them. So
Okay.
I think people getting too worked up here about like following the rules, like just ignore the
And,
cat stuff, which I
and
do
I
say.
will add, I think these tend to fizzle fairly quickly. So I think,
Yeah,
in general, if you are getting kind of activated because this is happening, it can seem like it's going on for a really long time. And you see the 23 at the bottom of your, or at the little corner of your app or whatever, and you feel really upset about this. But I think it also bears remembering that sense of overwhelm is part of what is like heightening your emotional
Right.
reaction and kind of remembering that this wasn't a thing before. This isn't a routine thing. This isn't a pattern that is establishing itself for the long term. This is novel. Humans like novelty. And with that, when that no longer is novel, I think it'll settle down, and reminding yourself of the temporary nature is often a really good coping strategy through something that you might find difficult or onerous.
Right. Well, the other thing here is we talk about this idea of when I'm troubled by something, I want to sit down and figure out on is it on other people to stop doing what they're doing because they're out of line, or is it on me to cope with this differently? And sometimes it's on them to like, no, they're acting inappropriately or they're causing problems, they're hurting, they're being harmful or whatever. Then I should be speaking out and going, hey, dudes, like really? Or really objecting strenuously in other ways. But if people are having a good time and it's not really like causing harm, but I'm just a bit annoyed by it, that's on me to figure out how not to be annoyed by something that's pretty innocuous. I mean, if it's my family, it is deteriorated into pictures of what our cats are doing at that moment. And why would that? I can ignore that. I don't need to ask them to stop sending cat pictures. Like that seems like I feel like I'd be the asshole in that situation if I'm trying to rain on their parade and take away their enjoyment when it really is super simple for me just to like scroll to the bottom and mark as read.
Yeah,
So,
especially when it's not happening in real time. So we're doing it via text, right? And then I think I always go back to that because I really liked the book, the Art of the Gathering. Why are we here doing the
mhm,
thing? Why are we in this
mhm.
thread having this conversation? And
Right, right.
what's appropriate for this context? I think in other settings, when we're, let's say, at the park at the family reunion, we might respond a little bit different just because now it's happening in real time and you can't
Hmm.
pause that thread. And as you said, I think the content matters. Are we sharing what our cats are doing right now? And is that appropriate for what we're doing?
Always.
Oh, maybe,
I mean,
right?
if it's my cats, yeah,
But you
absolutely. It's
also
always,
but you
especially in
also
my
might find
family.
yourself in real life having a really time limited amount of time going, well, like we're gathering here for this purpose. So
No, I get
aside,
that.
let's
I
put
get
those
that.
in the thread and handle what's in front of us. So I think like you have context matters is kind of what I'm really
Mm-hmm.
getting at, right? And I think in
100%.
the text thread, because you don't have to deal with it immediately, it's not urgent, you don't need to change anything or do anything right now, then yes, we can tolerate a little bit of that, off topicness, as long as we
Hmm.
can also agree we're going to come back to topic and get
Right.
business done.
Now we do have in our particular family
The cat
setup.
thread?
Well, we have a more chit chatty thread.
Sure.
I'm not worried about the what are we doing this week thread getting polluted in our particular family because we've already
But you have a
set up a
cultural
structure. We
norm to
do. We
set it
have a cultural
aside.
norm. Yeah, the
Mhm.
cats go in this thread.
Until someone totally disregards the cultural norm, picks up their device, and randomly chooses which platform and which thread
Yeah.
they're going to respond
And you know
on.
what? That's fine. I don't care. It's fine. I'm not gonna like
No,
this is
then you
not
lose
this is
information potentially.
maybe I don't know.
Maybe.
I can read, so I'm not worried about it.
Good.
Well, I mean, so so thank you both. I mean, first of all, our cats are fighting currently. They're running
Oh, are
around
they?
wildly
Excellent.
down here, hissing at each other and running around, which I love.
Excellent.
And what I heard, and I wanted to interject, but I didn't want to interrupt in the moment, was when you talked about the subgroup texts. I couldn't
Hmm.
help but hear subtexts. And so the subtext is over here, which kind of made
And
me
the
laugh.
subtext of the sub,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And now you're
Anyway,
making my head hurt.
sorry. But anyway, what I'm hearing though is the goal is not to win the group text, right? It's to stay regulated and act like you would in a room with these people, respond to what matters, ignore the extra. And if it starts turning into, I don't know, like performance art or something, you're allowed to step out. Is
Right.
that fair?
Totally, totally. And I think that goes for text threads that are not family. I've certainly been
Hmm.
in text threads of people who are unrelated, and you just maintain decorum in that thread. Don't show your ass.
Hmm.
Awesome. Great advice.
Well stated.
Thanks.
Thank
With
you so much.
gentility.
We'll see if we do this again. But I,
All right.
as always, I appreciate your willingness to try something new.